Once upon a time, there lived a prince. One not so unlike myself. It was a kingdom filled with strife. There were people, and unfortunately, things weren't going so well. The former king had been usurped by a different royal family. Unfortunately, that king was my father. You see, I've been living in a bit of turmoil, waiting for them to find me. But for better or worse, they never did. Instead, I found myself at odds with what to do. A world filled with many things, and yet I didn't know. Not at all what I should do. Instead, I existed. A street urchin, former prince. It all seemed like a joke. And yet here I am. Here I stand in the busy streets and strange place of the Illyrian capital. Part of me wonders if I would be alive, if not for the kindness of a former family friend. You see, the Midoriya family has showed kindness to me. Izuku, who is my best friend. I need to find him. He's been missing for 2 years now. And even still, they showed kindness, risking their own lives to help mine. Even if I can't directly live with them, they've given me refuge in my darkest hour. Now begins my journey, not only to reclaim what is rightfully mine, a life and a friend, but also to change the world as we know it. This kingdom, it needs to change. After the usurp, the coup, it changed everything. All of the rules got so much more strict. In fact, everything did. The new rule of King Endeavor, he who once claimed to be my true father, wouldn't know what a father meant if it hit him upside the head. I seek the royal bloodline, not in an effort of revenge or even one of animosity, but I believe that the children of the king are anything but corrupt. I think they're just as much prisoners in their towers as I am on the streets. Though, being a street urchin has gifted me one thing: ears where they don't belong. And with those words I've heard, there have been so many clues left behind, breadcrumbs of both Izuku's mysterious disappearance and the royal bloodline. You see, Izuku was adopted. He doesn't even know it. But there was one once rumored to be called All for One. A man rightfully named that because everything surrounded him, or that's how the rumor goes. He took anything, everything, and he stole it, if not given. He is a fearful man, by all accounts. Then again, what do I know? Until I try. It must be done this way, lest I fail my new family as I failed my old. It's sad to say, but I don't know the fate of my sister, my mother, or my brother. Dabi, please be safe. I pray you escaped like I, but I can only wish upon such a star. The life of a knight will be my charge, one who changes the world, not with violence, not even with quirk, but with heart, soul, and true noble intent. I swear to change everything, for what is right must be kept, and the wrong done to my family in this kingdom cannot stay. I must change it myself. In truth, there was only a handful of those that I truly loved, of those I found myself unwavering. The land around me is such a place that I simply don't know. With only clues, whispers on the end of every insecure sentence. I don't know. Perhaps you could help me. You, a complete stranger. Someone who knows nothing of my plight. You still saved me. It is, as you say, we owe each other nothing, and yet still we stand here talking, which would beckon reason, a reason that you have something that makes you special. You who can even look at some dirty beggar on the street, such as myself, and see something more. I wonder how you do it. Is there some kind of a secret? Or is it just you have a heart of gold? I pray thee it is, as you deserve it. Such a fate. But I wonder, will you join me on this tale? A tale I don't know how will end. You, who probably can't believe my words, that I was once a prince. What a mockery of things, isn't it? By my look, or by my stature, you can mock me all you like. Not that I think you're one to, and especially not one to do something so cruel. You care for others, as do I. Though I must say I think I prefer your method. It gives me a smile. Well, if you'll accompany me, perhaps you'll give me someone to talk to on the road. I've need for information, so we must go to the place most exchanged of such. Why, yes, the brewery, a place for drinks and merry outings. But what does it mean? Why is it that so many flapping lips tell stories they shouldn't? It's quite simple, really. They're all looking to charm the next fair lady or lad. They're all looking to tell stories that can't be untold. Wild stories, gruesome stories, dramatic stories, and otherwise. They all just end up the same. You see, it's not the contents of the story you have to watch out for. It's the way they deliver them. Lots of times, those with lies are as easy to spot as a pig among sheep. And yet, even liars have hints of truth in them. I feel as though you will be of much help to me in my journey, but first we must be off. It's impossible, if not, to accomplish much of anything. We would simply waste time in the city and possibly get ourselves killed. As the former prince, if I was recognized, I'm sure you know what would happen. Things would become rather difficult, to say the least. And it may seem like an unsavory means, but having friends in low places sometimes is the key to unlocking a path that leaves you alive and with more information. We can't just exit through the gate, so follow me. The waterways are our only way. It's all right. You can back down here if you wish, and I can go on my merry way. It doesn't matter either way. You're fascinating, though. Why is it you're interested? Is it because I was a prince? Don't tell me you're doing this all just in case I come to power. Do you want someone of royalty to owe you? Is it a power thing? It doesn't really matter, truth be told. Whatever your reason, I think your actions speak louder. You've helped me. You've made this journey less boring, as well as given me someone to share things with. I just feel as though the burden, it shouldn't be yours to bear. You can see me through, but please do not. Unless you intend to have such a thing. It would be troublesome for me to feel the weight of that, though, of you bearing my burden. It's unbelievably difficult to imagine relying upon another. I have never been one, ever since that day, to be needy, to be reliant. It's such a cruel world when you see it change. When you see it change to bear its fangs at you. Do I sound sad? I would say it's less sad and more a melancholy mix of reality and my own experiences skewing where I view it. A large portion of me feels wounded, empty, like a cage without an animal. When I should feel like an animal without a cage. Of course, my life at the castle, it made me a target for things. Empty threats mostly, but it was a pampered but very closed-off life. Due to the threats, I had to stay within a very specific confines. The castle was as much my home as my prison, and now that I'm free of it, I should be happy. And yet here I am, lamenting to someone I barely know. What does that tell you about your former prince? Let's be off before I say something more shameless. No, you accepting me cannot heal this wound. But I thank you for trying. The effort is meaningful to me. Thank you, friend. We have a long journey upon us, and I hope you will dissuade yourself from following if I fall. I would not take you with me. Listen, as a contingency, wear this. It's a non-active slave collar. So therefore, if they catch me, you have an alibi. And trust me, it can't be active, it's just a dummy. Perhaps someone would use this for impure deeds, but I seek not that. I seek something much more pure of heart. What does it mean to you to be a knight? Does a knight not save those in distress instead of make it? Yet today's knights, the knights who have swept up the scene in a fortnight, it seems they have lost their care of knightly duties. I, for one, cannot give up on such a duty, give up on such a feeling or form. I must abide by my knight's code, not some flimsy pocketbook of a noble or king. And my stature of what I am changes nothing. I will always be myself, and I was taught, thankfully, to stand by my beliefs, something that isn't always easy. It's tempting sometimes to give in to the way that gives you the easy way, the way with less pain, the way that avoids those difficult questions. Here we are. Pardon my interruption, but they call this the gully, the underbelly of the city, and perhaps the least known tavern. Once we go in, be wary. Things may get rowdy. Surprisingly civil, I see. Empty. There's something wrong here. Be on your guard. It's an ambush. Be careful. Get down. Unless you can fight. It was almost too easy. But who could be responsible? That is truly the question. These appear to be cheap assassins, which would lead me to believe they weren't here for me. But why? Who would be going here at this time that they'd want to assassinate? It makes so little sense. It must be some complete weakling. Otherwise, they'd never just send that many.
Hey, come on now. I take offense at that.
Show yourself. I'd rather not slit your throat.
You talk those big words, but you just dealt with some trash. You don't actually think that you're a match for me, do you?
I'd be willing to bet my life on it.
Well, that's more than enough for me not to try. I'm not here to prove who's better at swordsmanship. In fact, I always provided quite a better solution to my clients. Particularly this.
A crossbow, I see. Only shameless cowards use
things that keep them alive in time of need.
I see your code of ethics is not honorable.
Honor doesn't pay the bills, and it doesn't save you from dying if you get in a bad mix of things. So why should I abide by honor? Why should anyone?
You are just despicable, aren't you?
No more despicable than someone who wants to help you.
And just what could I get from you? Why would I ask for the help of a scoundrel?
Because I've got both information and a way of helping you two. Now, I was only expecting you, but I guess you already recruited somebody. Fine by me. I like a party. Now, you're trying to get back that throne, little birdie told me. But you don't have a real good way of doing it, do you? I know exactly what you need.
And just why would I trust you?
Well, you might recognize this insignia as something a little bit more trustworthy than usual. You see, your dear old brother sends his regards.
Dobby. So it's true, he survived. It means strange omens are at hand.
Don't say that. Doesn't take someone with such roguish good looks as me to tell you that things aren't always as they seem. Look at the back of it.
There's a message carved into the coin. I see. What a strange piece of information. And why the back of a coin? There are far cheaper and more efficient ways.
Yeah, but that doesn't send a message quite the same way. You don't realize how much you're dealing with, do you? These are nobles with more money than they know what to do with, so they use it on entertainment. What's more entertaining? Giving a calling card that's fancy, or one that's average? Who do you think they're going to respond to? Those of high society. It's pretty clear why they do it, actually. And it's exactly what you'd expect from a royal. So you're quite the peculiar one, if I do say so myself.
I don't want to hear that from a scoundrel. Come, let's go.
Not so fast.
Now you're going to point it at me. You're going to threaten me after all. Would you kill a man by shooting him in his back?
Well, I don't really care about things like honor, sir, so I'm afraid we're gonna have to work out a deal. You see, it's not just something that's purely done out of the goodness of my heart. What I need is your cooperation.
And just why would I abide by that?
Oh, you mean other than the fact that you'd be dead if I wanted you to? Well, I can give you another few good reasons. One, we have the same enemy. Two, there's no reason for us to work alone because we'll get in each other's way. And three, there's safety in numbers these days. Do you expect you can take an entire battalion of men? You can't be that silly.
I never intended to. Such acts would be suicide. So what are you getting at?
I'm getting at that I'm a tricky fella. I've got lots of ideas in case we get into a sticky situation, but knowing me and my instincts, we won't ever get there in the first place.
And what's your point in all this?
My point is simple. Listen to what I have to offer first before you leave me high and dry and with an arrow in your back.
I guess I'm listening.
Good, good. We can have a cordial conversation, can't we? Oh, by the way, whoever you got there, they're gonna have to work on themselves if they're gonna be part of this group. I can already tell they're kind of a piece of work.
I won't have you talk to my beloved friend like that.
Oh, you're so scary from 20 feet away and with an arrow sticking your direction.
And if you miss?
Oh, trust me, I never miss. Are we gonna play this game of chicken or are we gonna talk about the deal?
Well, I see no reason other than your scoundrel nature. But perhaps it's suitable to your talents, as you certainly don't seem to be helpless.
Wow, acknowledged by a prince. I've really moved up in the world, haven't I? Next thing you know, it's going to be Sir Aizawa. Well, or is it the first name? Sir Shota. I don't know, but you nobles got things way too complicated in these simple times. It's a cutthroat world out there, and I thought that's how you liked it. But you know what? It's too cutthroat even for me. I lost some things that I can't really easily get back, unless you're a prince again. Just remember you owe me one for all this. I'd never do work so dangerous for free, and I'd never insist to this point if I didn't have conviction. So look me in the eye and see if that's honorable enough for you, my prince.
Enough. Put down your weapon. We go together. I'm not so blatantly fooled by your initial act to not see you for you. Albeit crude, I see you have true conviction, and that isn't something a scoundrel would have at all.
Wow, you're doing me honor now. Maybe I'll become a knight after this. Get that fancy gold armor, you never know. Might be good for something other than being a glistening bauble in the sun.
Well, I'll tell you this much. It certainly helps in deflecting arrows in the back.
You're acting like the arrow wouldn't have bounced upward into your skull. You don't actually think that I was planning on trying to pierce your armor directly, do you? Come on, what do you take me for? I'm a master scoundrel. That makes me good at doing misdeeds. We'll put it that way. But trust me when I say, I've always taken from Robin Hood. I don't really like hurting people who don't deserve it, just taking what we need to survive down here. Now, why don't we get to planning, my favorite part? We're gonna do a heist. Just us three. We'll each have a part in this, and oh, it's gonna be a blast, I promise.
I wouldn't doubt it, given what you've shown me. But I suppose I'll need to ask again. Will you join me on this fateful day to steal away the proof of my inheritance? Then it is settled. We shall see victory, and we shall see honor.
Now you're sounding like those old fancy books. Come on, Prince. Get with the time. You seem like you're younger than me. If an old man like me has to tell you, well, I guess you just got some problems, don't you?
You're the last person I want to hear that from. But alas, we must put it aside. There's much too much to do. And time is of the essence.